Jimmy doesn't want to wake up. She knows what day it is. The house has been getting heavier and darker, preparing itself for today. Now today is here, and Jimmy doesn't want a bar of it. She pulls herself under the yellow blanket covered in monkeys that her mum gave her 4 years ago when she was 6, and tells her brain to stop, to go back to sleep. But her brain doesn't listen. It rarely does. Jimmy wonders if she closed herself up in a cupboard, or hid herself under the bed. If she just sat in the dark all day, then maybe it would be like today didn't exist. Then she could wake up when it was tomorrow. And then it would be a whole year before they had to go through this again. Jimmy stays very still, her breath held, her heartbeat slowing. She listens. There is no noise, as if the house is holding its breath too. There are no sounds of coffee being made, or the shuffle of a newspaper being opened. No milk being slurped straight from the bottle, or footsteps stomping to the bathroom. No water clanking through the pipes. Even Raticus is silent in his cage. Outside, the day has already started. People are laughing and walking and yelling and driving and working and flying in aeroplanes and swimming in the sea and growing and cooking and reading and doing. People are living without any of them knowing what today is. None of them know that, in this house, everything has stopped. In this house, there is nothing. The first year was the hardest. The sadness was still open and bleeding. The second year wasn't much better. Jimmy's dad told her it would get easier, and it has. Most days it has. Most days Jimmy can go the whole day without feeling that thirsting inside, but there is a lump and heaviness that never goes away. Today is the beginning of the 4th year. Today it has been 3 years since Jimmy last heard her mum whisper her name. 3 years since every part of her life changed. 3 years since her mum placed the bone sparrow around Jimmy's neck, her fingers shaking at the knot. "It's your turn now, love," she whispered, and Jimmy closed her eyes. The next morning, her mum was dead. At the funeral, Jimmy held onto the necklace, the sweat from her hand sinking into the bone. Her fingers worked at the bone sparrow the whole way through the speeches, her thumb rubbing at its smoothed back, where her mum's fingers used to rub, until there was a dent in her hand the size of the sparrow, and a pain at the back of her neck from the pulling. Jimmy didn't listen to any of the words people were saying. Instead, she thought of the afternoon she'd spent with her mum, just the two of them together before the others got home. For a moment she thought she could feel the warmth of her mum's hands on her shoulders, and the slightest pressure of a kiss placed gently on her head. Sitting in between Jonah and her dad, feeling them close, she could almost imagine that nothing had changed, that her mum would pop through that door any second. What a mix-up! Wait till you hear what happened. In those first weeks after the funeral, Jimmy helped her dad pack up her mum's clothes. They put them into boxes and her dad pushed them high and up into the attic. They did the same with her mum's things, her books, her pictures, her jewellery, everything, sweeping them into boxes so they wouldn't make her dad weep and cry and curl into a ball on the floor. All through that clearing, Jimmy had kept the bone sparrow necklace tucked under her shirt. She didn't want to remind her dad that she wore it now. She didn't want him to cry again. It was while they were packing up the bedroom that Jimmy found the notebook, small and broken and full of words she couldn't read. She wanted to ask her dad or Jonah to read the words to her, but she knew she couldn't. It didn't matter anyway. Her mum had written down each and every word in that book, and one day Jimmy would read them and hear her mum's voice again. So she didn't pack the book into the boxes with the other things. That was 3 years ago. She still can't read the words, still can't hear her mum's voice. Outside in the garden she hears a howl, long and pained. Her dad is awake. Even through blocked ears, Jimmy can hear him crying. She holds the bone sparrow above her head, watching the bird spin lazy circles in the air, its wings spread wide, and the white of the bone blossoming into green around the middle where a coin used to sit. Her mum told her about the bone sparrow when she was little, told her how it had protected her family for generations, told her how it had carried the souls of all her family, keeping them together and safe on their journey. But Jimmy doesn't feel protected. She doesn't feel safe. All she feels is that lump and that heaviness that never go away.